So, why did you move to New York? When did
My family moved. It was not a choice. It was not a choice I had in the matter.
So how old were you when you moved?
When I moved to New York, I must have been 21. Yeah,
Okay.
I was 21. Yeah.
And so you said you had 2 years off. When you got back into hockey, who was that first club? Who was that first
But
team?
I joined the club at the time was the West Indies International, and it was similar to the Islanders. It was again, it was all the members were from the Caribbean, Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, Guyana. Yeah.
Was that purely a hockey club, or was it?
No, it was a combination of hockey and cricket.
Okay.
Yeah, and over time, we felt that the cricketers were getting much more of the club's focus rather than the hockey section, and I think that what led that is what led to a small group of us deciding to form another hockey club, which we call the Islanders.
So who was part of that group that was part of the West Indies Cricket and Hockey Club? Who did you move away with?
Well, we took a combination of guys and girls, and I guess the names are, unfortunately, some of them are deceased now. But those of us from the original group 43 years ago who were still around in some capacity with the Islanders would be Euclid, who you spoke with some time ago, Euclid Mahon, myself, my wife, Yvonne. She was one of the founding members of the Islanders and one of the lady hockey players, female hockey players. Yeah. Tony Clark or Anthony Clark. He still plays once a year when the Islanders visit Barbados during the summer. Plays with us, but of course we play in the veterans division because Tony now is probably close to 75. So yeah, but those are the players who were around back in 1977 who were still actively involved with the Islanders in some small part. Yeah.
So what was the early years like? What was give us
Well, the early years were great, were fantastic. Again, as I said, we had the guys and the girls. The guys played in what is called, it still exists today, it's called the Northeast Field Hockey Association, which is NEFHA, and it's still very active. But coincidentally, NEFHA was formed back in 1977 as well. But prior to that, hockey in the Northeast was put on by the Field Hockey Association of America, which was the governing body for men's field hockey. And the organizers of the Field Hockey Association wanted to give up their responsibilities for organizing local hockey. So they suggested we form a new association on the East Coast, and that association became the Northeast Field Hockey Association. Yeah, and I was fortunate to be one of the original officers of the NEFHA League. I was the first ever vice president of NEFHA, and later became president of NEFHA and served from 1980 to 1985 as the NEFHA president.
What were the early successes and the early challenges to both starting up a new team, a new club, and a new league?
Yeah. Well, actually, I would not say if for us, we were quite fortunate to have a number of players that were participating at the international level for the USA.
Who were those players?
We had 4 members of our team when we first formed. There were members of the current USA team at that time.
What were the names?
Junior Mahone, who we mentioned his name before. He was the vice captain of the USA team. We had the USA goalkeeper, Hewlett Johnson. We had, let's see if I can remember, Roy Cox. He was a member of the team. Myself was a member of the team. Yeah, so we had four members of the team. Charlie King, another player of the Islanders who was on the national team at the time. So having that many players on the USA national team, we were a fairly strong team as we formed. So it did not take us long. We formed in 77, and in 1980, it was the first year that we actually won the league, and we won it for the next 5 consecutive years. We were dominant in the early 80s of field hockey on the East Coast. Yeah, we
So,
won just about everything there was to win.
so was that a mix? So you said that there were some women in that team as well. Was that
Yeah, well, the women had its own team. They played in the Long Island Field Hockey League.
when did that start?
It started at the same time, but that was an existing league. That was an existing league. So they just joined that league. Yeah. Because when they were members of the West Indies International, they participated in that league. So when they became part of the Islanders just joined that Long Island Field Hockey League.
So this
Later on, many years later, the NEFHA branched out and began women's hockey as well. In the initial stages, it was just a men's league, but later they brought in the women, started a women's division, and the Islanders women became part of the early part of the women's hockey in NEFHA.
did the women ever play with the men? Was there ever a mixed
Oh
gender?
yeah, we do. Oh yes, integral part of the club. Quite often, the men and the women would go to co-ed tournaments or mixed tournaments. Yeah, so it was not unusual. And practices, all practices were co-ed. Yeah, actually, yeah. So it was not unusual for the men and the women to play together at all. It was actually normal. Yeah, for the men and the women. Yeah.